The following Eminem's lyrics almost lead to a school shooting. I'm not surprised. News comes courtesy of FresnoB.com. Now, for the record, I know a lot of you may be offended because a lot of you corny people are Eminem fans. And let me tell you something. I'm not surprised by this shit one fucking bit. You know, he said a lot of negative, nasty shit in his lyrics. So none of this surprises me at all. I blame the fans. Fresno B writes, and I quote, on Monday, Eminem lyrics referencing a bloody school massacre were posted from the Instagram account of a San Joaquin Memorial High School sophomore. On Tuesday, classes were canceled, and the 15-year-old was arrested on charges of making terrorist threats, a felony, and for disrupting school activity. A Fresno police investigation, ignited by the student's social media post of the controversial rapper's song, which refers to the Columbine High School shooting, led to a search of his home on East Lewis Avenue, where police found several guns, ammunition, and a bulletproof vest. In a news conference Tuesday, Fresno Police Chief Jerry Dyer said that detectives, quote, have every reason to believe that there was potential for a threat to be carried out. Comparing the student's characteristics of being a, quote, loner and, quote, socially awkward to past school shooters. Okay. Pause the story right here. The person was a loner and socially awkward, so I guess people who have a bunch of friends just don't shoot shit up. But then again, they're always saying that gangs are always shooting people, and gangs are pretty large groups of friends. Isn't that something? Anyway, back to the story. But an attorney for the family denied that characterization, and the student contends he did not make the post. At Tuesday's news conference, which was aired live on TV, Dyer initially attributed some of Eminem's lyrics to the teen, saying the youth had added his own words onto the song. But Dyer later retracted that statement after it was discovered that the student's entire post is part of a different Eminem song than the one police had identified initially. Eminem repeats similar lyrics in songs Rap God and I'm Back, which caused the confusion, Dyer said. But regardless, Dyer said the Instagram post and a subsequent conversation with another teen were considered a threat and caused principals at both San Joaquin Memorial High and St. Anthony's Catholic School, which the student previously attended, to cancel school on Tuesday. But schools plan to reopen Wednesday, and students were able to return to campus on Tuesday for football practice. The Instagram post quoted Eminem's song I'm Back nearly verbatim. Quote, I take 7 kids from Columbine, stand them all in line, add an AK-47, a revolver, a 9, a Mac 11, and it ought to solve the problem of mine. And that's a whole school of bullies shot up all at one time. I'm just like Shady and just as crazy as the world was over this whole Y2K thing. End quote. Wow, that was whack. Anyways, the only change made to the original lyrics is when the student compares himself to the rapper. The song actually says I'm Shady, not I'm just like Shady. Another teen who Dyer said was being questioned Tuesday commented on the post and said, quote, bring me with man, I got some stuff to settle, end quote. The San Joaquin Memorial student replied, quote, I'll text you when, and added, I got a couple of idiots, blocks I could knock off, end quote. The boy was arrested Monday night after school officials reached out to police, who then obtained a search warrant for his home. Dyer said a replica AK-47 airsoft rifle was in plain sight when officers first visited the home. A handgun, a .357 Magnum revolver, a 12-gauge shotgun, ammunition, and a bulletproof vest were later found seemingly hidden in the subfloor of the closet, Dyer said. Both the boy and his father denied any knowledge of the guns, which were not registered. Pause the story. The boy and the father denied any knowledge of the guns, and they were unregistered. What the fuck? So you're telling me that these people had unregistered guns in a subfloor in the closet of the house, and nobody knew shit about it. That's amazing. The story goes on to say the boy's father could also face charges for, quote, negligent storage of firearms, and because he has an active restraining order against him and is forbidden from owning firearms. Pause the story. They didn't say why he has that active restraining order, for the record. Story goes on to say police also seized the boy's cell phone and iPad. Dyer said the detectives took the youth into custody and made arrangements for a mental health evaluation. Pause the story. When you're white, the first thing they want to know is, do you have mental problems? Can we attribute any psychological problems to this so that you can get away with it? Back to the story. At the news conference, the student was compared to other young people who have opened fire at school in retaliation against bullies. The student has been bullied at school and had a particularly rough year, Dyer said, end quote. Well, of course he had a really rough year. He's white. White folks bully each other to death all the time. Sometimes they commit suicide, sometimes they shoot up the school. More than one school shooting happens every week in America, but nobody wants to talk about it. Because, young white men are supposed to be the heroes of America or whatever. The conquerors. Not terrorists, not thugs, but conquerors. Noble knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Right? Anyways, back to the story. Story goes on to say, his mother died about a year ago from an illness. He recently broke up with his girlfriend. He quit the football team and he was doing poorly in school, according to Dyer. Quote, these are really all of the things we look for in individuals that historically have been involved in incidents like Columbine. So we're very fortunate that this was brought to our attention, Dyer said. Quote, we have every reason to believe that he was reaching out for help. The weapons were present. The ammunition was present. Perhaps even the mindset was present to carry out those threats. But the boy's attorney, Lyndon Lindahl, paints a different picture and says it was clear during questioning that officers, quote, had already made up their minds that he did it. They weren't trying to get information, he said. They were questioning him as if he were already guilty, end quote. Family lawyer speaks. Okay, so this is the end of the story here. Lindahl said his client didn't post the Instagram message, deny being depressed, and also deny being bullied at school. Lindahl was with the boy and the family when police searched the home. He said they were cooperative with the officers, giving detectives permission to search the residence, but the detectives thought it would be better to get a search warrant. The boy also told police that the police was from Eminem's song, quote, I'm Back. Despite what was said at Tuesday's news conference, Lindahl said, when detectives asked the teen whether he posted the Instagram message, he said no, adding that perhaps, adding that, and I quote, oh my God, this is insane, perhaps his computer was hacked. Was he a celebrity? The whole I was hacked line? Anyways, back to the story. The detectives also asked him whether he was depressed about his mother's death, but he said he wasn't. Lindahl said, in addition, the boy said that he didn't break up with his girlfriend, but had a small argument with her recently. Quote, it was a tiff, Lindahl said. The family is shocked by the allegations because he had never been in trouble before. Wait. Pause the story. Just because you've never been in trouble before doesn't mean that you might not just do something out of the blue. So I don't really think that that's really relevant to the story, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, back to the story. Let me finish this up. It goes on to say, the family is shocked by the allegations because he had never been in trouble before, Lindahl said, noting that the boy is not on medication. He said the family offered to voluntarily commit the boy for a mental health evaluation, but police involuntarily committed him. Quote, his family describes him as a quiet kid with a circle of 6 to 7 friends, Lindahl said. Oh, why do they even ask questions like that? Oh, he's quiet and he has this or that many friends. What the fuck does that really have to do with anything? Anyways, finish up the story. The weapons were in the basement that could only be accessed through a closet in the father's bedroom, the attorney said. Lindahl pointed out that the airsoft AK-47 was not to scale and had a bright orange tip, which signals that it is not a real weapon. The investigation is ongoing. Pause the story. Well, you know what was actually real? That goddamn 12 gauge, that goddamn revolver, and whatever else they found. I mean, I saw the pictures, man. It looked they're up on that website, man. There's a link to it. I mean, he had a fucking arsenal. If he really wanted to shoot at the school with them guns, boy, he could have done some serious damage. He had all types of weaponry. He had army guns. Like, remember that song by Lil Wayne? Army guns, yeah. Like that. He had some serious heat. What, AK-47s and shit? 12 gauges? Woo! Could have tore shit up. But, you know, he was caught. Nobody got killed. But at the end of the day, Eminem's songs are vulgar and they say a lot of crazy things. And some people, of course, are going to blame him for this. But at the end of the day, this young man is, of course, to blame for his own alleged actions because he claims he was hacked or possibly hacked. And the father says that the unregistered guns that they found at their house, well, they didn't have shit to do with it. They don't know how they got there. So they were hacked and had guns planted on them. Maybe it was a big Illuminati conspiracy, right? More than likely not. More than fucking likely not. All I know is Eminem's lyrics suck, as evidenced in this news story. And if you're a fan of Eminem, you're an idiot. And if you notice, nobody's calling this kid a thug or a punk or anything like that because he's obviously Caucasian. And when you have stupid stories about being hacked and we don't know where the fuck the guns came from, they fell out of the air, the stork brought them, they came from another dimension, you know, Captain Kirk came from the starship and planted them in the fucking basement via a trap door in the closet or whatever. I mean, amazing story. White folks tell some great stories about history and everything else. Everything under the fucking sun, just made up stories. But hey, this is all my opinion. What do I know? Let me know what you think about it all below. Be sure to subscribe to the Meat Magazine YouTube channels. Visit meatmagazine.blogspot.com for more. An Eminem fan. Who's really surprised? Eminem fans are the dumbest sometimes. I swear they really are. Meat Magazine.